Hi, good morning. In Simon Taf Reish Vav, the Shulchan Aruch brings down, B'ezrat Hashem, on the Erev Yom Kippur, what does it mean that each and every person should go ahead and try to ask Mechila from anybody he wronged? I just want to touch upon if it's your friend, your wife, your husband, children, etc., versus if it's your rabbi or even if a person, a Talmid Chacham that you learn Torah from. To say, forgive me, and then he just says, I forgive you, Rabotai, it doesn't work like that. You can't say, you know how they do, just, okay, forgive me, and Shabbat Shalom. Rabotai, the halakha says, Avirosh ben Adam lechavero, sins between a person and his friend, and Yom Kippurim mechaper ad sheyavsenu. Yom Kippur will not atone until you pacify your friend. So if you wronged your wife, until you don't pacify her, you're not forgiven. That means, I don't know, Chas v'Shalom, Lolin, Rabotai, the stories that I hear, the things that men do sometimes, is I don't know, to go with somebody else, Chas v'Shalom, I don't know, Lolin, Rabotai, or to go place, or to be with friends when she wants to go out with him, whatever the situation might be. If she tells him right now, I want a nice diamond necklace or nice diamond earring, otherwise I'm not going to forgive you, what should I tell you? Tipapal. You should have told before you did the Avera. What do you want him to tell you? Now, it's a very serious thing. He says, until you pacify the person. But I just want to make something clear over here. But let's say if the husband wants to go in the Derech Hashem and she wants to do something else, and every time he wants to do something right and she wants to do something wrong, she gets upset. She wants to go to the party. She wants to go to the beach. She wants to go to the movie theaters. She wants to watch TV. She wants to be romantic. I don't be romantic. I can't do these things. Not allowed. Then she gets upset. These things you're not obligated to ask her, please forgive me. When you go in the ways of Hashem, you don't ask, please forgive me. They have to ask you, please forgive me. Not you ask them. So this is the first halakha, Rabotai. This is part A. Part B brings down over here. Va'afilu lo hiktinu el bidvarim tzarich lefaiso. Right? Even if it was with words, you have to pacify the person. V'im einu mitpayez barishona. If the first time you try to pacify him, he's not pleased with it, or she's not pleased with it, whatever the situation might be. Every single time that you have to go, Boreh, up to 3 times, you have to take 3 people with you every time you go, and you got to use a new tactic to how to ask the person for forgiveness. Somebody wronged you with money, Chas v'Shalom. He ripped you off in business. I don't know what happened. He's not forgiving you. He says, you remember what do you call it? What you cost me, whatever you made me, the loss that you made was $250,000. Because of you, I lost 200. So what should I do in order to? I want my 250,000 back. Otherwise, Rabotai, if he doesn't forgive you, you're not forgiven. If you're the cause of his pain, you're not forgiven. You got to be very careful, especially when it comes to money. If you already tried everything, you came, you said, here's your money, here's whatever, your chain, your jewelry. The person, no, I still don't want to forgive you. After 3 times, you no longer have to ask. Rabotai, this is not a competition over here. How many times I'm going to go ask her, not ask her. Ask you 3 times, I gave you what I'm able to pacify you, you didn't want to listen. That's up to you. However, the Ramah brings down with me, Rabotai, afterwards, Rabotai, you should go in front of 10 people, and you should tell them that I asked from this person forgiveness, so they know that everything is cleared out. If this person is your rabbi that you offended or you suspect or whatever the situation might have been, you have to go to him many times until you are able to pacify him. It could be 1 time, it could be 100 times, it could be 1,000 times. As long as the rabbi doesn't forgive you, you are not forgiven. That's the simple works. He tells you he wants X, Y, and Z you have to do. Whatever he tells you, I want you to learn Shas. You want me to forgive? I want you to learn Shas. You have to learn Shas. Otherwise, Rabotai, you're going to have big problems in the next world. The Gaon Mivul and the Magen Aram, they bring down over here, the Mishnah Berurah brings down their opinions in Sivkat and Zayin. Even if he's not your main rabbi, meaning you did not learn majority of your learnings from him, rather you heard from him words of Torah, Rabotai, still you have to be very careful. This is where we come into big problems, Rabotai, when you decide to listen to many rabbis' words of Torah. I don't want to start, you will listen, right? You go to Biyachad, you go to Eitorn, you listen, and whatever it is, you listen. and then you speak bad about the Rabotai, the fact that you listen to them from words of Torah, these rabbis, and then you said things bad about them, now you have to go and have to pacify them. That's what Rabotai, a person has no permission whatsoever to ever speak about Talmidei Chachamim or rabbis, because the punishment is very severe. Chazal tell us, anybody who chas v'shalom touches the Talmid Chacham or rabbi, and the punishment that he's going to get, he will not be able to uphold the punishment. There's going to be no healing. For every sickness there is medicine. For this sickness there will be no medicine, because you're playing with the person's Torah. You have to remember one thing. When the Talmid Chacham decides to sit down and learn Torah, he forgoes everything. Enjoyment, vacations, pleasure, Rabotai. He wants to be devoted to Hashem. And here you are, you come, and you start speaking bad about him with your filthy mind. Oh, Otakoi, Rabbi Takoi, I need business dealing on Jishovi, on Afiris. Rabotai, you need to be careful how you speak about other rabbis. I've heard many times, all these rabbis, Rabotai, you need to go and ask them forgiveness, and whatever it takes to pacify them, you have to pacify them. Rabotai, I just want to speak about a very important point over here. He says in Sivkat al Tzarik Lifaiso, the Gam Bezeh Avar al Isur de Onat Devarim. When you offend a person, you also did the prohibition of hurting your fellow Jew with words. I want to bring out last night, before I go to sleep, I try to listen to some shurim, so it gives me a little bit chizik, it gives me strength to be able to wake up. You know, some people go to sleep with, I don't know, YouTube shorts, more shorts, TikTok, Shmita, Flipper. Rabotai, I tell you something, all jokes aside, these 10 days, until Yom Kippur, you should take upon yourself not to do anything unnecessarily, because these 10 days you're being judged. After Rosh Hashanah, up until Yom Kippur, you're being judged right now. What's going to be your seal? You do not want to do anything extra. If you have to go, if it's not business related, do not touch the internet, Rabotai. Do not. No movies, no shorts, no TikTok, nothing, Rabotai. Show Hashem you really feel bad. Show Hashem you're really sorry. In any event, Rabotai, I went on Torah anytime. Before I went to sleep, I put a lecture by Rabbi Nissim again, Zatal, very powerful rabbi, Rabotai, one of the most emet rabbis that was out there. Even his books are published today. He spoke about this concept of Onat Devarim. I'll explain to you what I mean. There was a lady, a very young lady. She was married to a religious guy. Her husband was an avrech. Avrech literally means a person who sits and learns Torah, right? In yeshiva all day. She was covering her hair. Everything was fine. About 3 to 5 kids. I don't exactly remember how many kids they had. One day she needed to do a certain operation. She goes into the emergency room. They start doing the operation. The operation goes sour. The heartbeat shows no heartbeat. She dies. The doctors put the white sheet over the person, lo lein Rabotai. They start writing the date, the time, etc. What time she died, and everybody leaves the room to go inform the family that this is and this what happened. Rabotai, 20 minutes later they come in, trying to pack her up. They see her get up out of nowhere. Everybody gets scared. She starts telling them the clinical death that she had. She goes up to Shamayim. 2 destructive angels are taking her through a black tunnel. Whatever, he started explaining in length, Rabbi Nissim again, what was happening. They bring her to Shamayim. And they start telling her that her time has come. We have to take her, etc., etc. She tells the bed, I don't understand. How can you take me? She says, you don't see I have small little children. How is my husband going to deal with every single one of them? I need to go back down and I need to take care of my children. So the bed in Shamayla, in the heavenly court, they said, why are you different than anybody else in the cemetery that died and left their children behind? She says, but I don't understand, why you punish me like this? So they told her, he says, even though you look religious, even though you were religious, but when you did the mitzvot, you did not do them besimcha. You did not do them out of love. You lit the candles, just to do the mitzvah. You covered your hair because you wanted to cover your hair, because you wanted to do mitzvah. But was it, you went to the mikvah, were you happy? Was there fire inside of you, Rabotai? Did we, right? Like the pasuk says, the reason why Hashem punished the Jewish people in the Holocaust, Rabotai, because we did not serve Hashem besimcha. So she says, is that a reason to take her? Is that a reason to go? Rabotai, they say, no, there's another problem you had. And what's that? He says you did not respect your husband. You never gave your husband the proper respect. Rabotai, I want to redefine Shalom Bayit today. Today, everything, Baruch Hashem, everything you hear, the husband has to listen to the wife, the husband has to do what the wife says. Rabotai, nowhere in the Torah you're going to find that this is the case. If anything, it's just the other way around. The wife has to do what the husband says, Rabotai. The wife needs to respect the husband. And this is what they punished for. They said, even though we can overlook that what you did in Sarah Hashem B'Simcha, which is a very big problem, but this was your final seal because you didn't give your husband the proper respect. So who came out, Rabotai, for her defense? Her father. He was a very big tzaddik, very big rabbi. He said, give her one more chance. Because of his learning Torah, they sent her back down. And she told the story to everybody, Rabotai. Rabbi Nisini again says like this. You want, I'll send you the link. It's on Torah. Go to Rabbi Nisini again. It's a 3-minute story, Rabotai. He said from over here you learn. What does it mean? How careful a wife has to be when it comes to the honor of her husband. Yes, Rabotai, we know how much we have to honor our wives. But right now, Rabbi Nisini again is talking about how careful a woman has to be able, how careful a woman has to honor when it honor her husband's honor, Rabotai. She has to be very careful when she speaks to him, the way she speaks to him, how the house is ready, etc. Now I want to explain to you something. Is it the woman's fault today that sometimes they just start screaming and they embarrass you, etc.? It's not their fault. It's our fault. Do you know why? Because we're always taught when your wife screams at you, be quiet. Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. Swallow, swallow. Rabbi, I'm not telling you to fight with your wife. But one thing you do need to know is very important. When your wife is hurting you with her words, you have to tell her this concept over here. Honor Devarim, babe, you're hurting me with your words. You're speaking right now very negative. You're damaging. I'm not going to fight back with you. But what you're doing is you're hurting me with your words. Then she decides to tell her parents or her friends. That's Lashon Hara, Rabotai. Then she starts telling, that's the Richilut. Then she gets angry with you, Rabotai. That's Ka'as. So the woman at one time when she's attacking her husband and then she's embarrassing if he's in front of her father or his father or children, etc. So Rabotai, you need to educate your wives. You have to tell them, listen, you want to scream at me, you want to talk to me, we could sit down like two normal human beings and we could speak it out. There's no need for you to scream at me. And this Rabotai, this halakha, Rabotai, in Simon Tav Reish Vav. When it comes ben Adam lechavero, of course Rabotai, it works the other way around. I'm just telling you what Rav Nissi again said. A woman has to be very, very careful with the husband's honor. Especially, Rabotai, if he goes b'derech Hashem. Because there's a lot more things that a woman can do. Why does a woman have to ask her husband for mechila for all the times that she caused him to do bittul Torah? Take me here, bring me there. Do this, shopping. I want to go to my in-laws. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. Rabotai, we're wasting a lot of time by listening to them. You need to make a schedule. I don't know, Motzi Shabbat, Sunday, Friday, Rabotai. There's 7 days in the week. From Sunday to Sunday, 7 days in the week, correct? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's all you can give Hashem 4 days of learning Torah. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're home with your wife. So I don't get it. So you also want to take from those 4 days and you want to also go out over here, do this, or do that. That's what Rabotai, it's a very big punch like I told you before. In Masechet Shabbat it says over there that the reason why Chas v'Shalom women can die from Askara is a sickness that swelling starts from the stomach, it goes up to the throat and it chokes them, is because they cause their husband to do bittul Torah. If you see your husband is learning Torah, he's doing avodah Hashem, you can't tell him, babe, can you throw out the garbage? Do you have kids in the house? Can you do it yourself? You go do it yourself. You're not, Rabotai, these are all halachot. If there's nobody else that can do that job, then you ask your husband. But in the middle of learning to call him and say, babe, bring me breakfast, bring me this, bring me that. Rabotai, you have Uber app today, Uber it in. Let your husband learn Torah. I'll give you a small, one more example. There's a rabbi that I know personally, Rabotai. He has a daughter, I believe, with 12 children. The last two children were twins. When the husband wanted to help her with the diapers or with the bottle to help her, she works 3 jobs. He sits and learns all day. They live, I think, in Lakewood or Muncie, I'm not sure. Do you know what the wife told him? The wife told him, you do not take my olam haba away in olam hazeh, in this world. He said, what? I wanted to help you. He said, did I ask you for your help? I could manage myself. Look at she said, you do not steal my olam haba. Your job is to learn Torah and make my olam haba as great as possible. When I looked at this, I was in this rabbi's house for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. When I looked at the family, when each one came, 12 children, Rabotai. 12, I thought this guy was a king. Black and white, all kids black and white, Rabotai. Everybody but there, no phone, no internet, Rabotai. Growing up healthy, B'lianara. Rabotai, this is what's called a woman, Rabotai. Eshet Chal Mimta, a real woman, Rabotai, allows her husband to go and avodah Hashem, and she not Chas v'Shalom takes him away from it. Baruch Adonai L'Olam. אמן ואמן. רבי חנן בן הקש אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את שלפיך הרבה להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר אדוני